You're listening to the Loudmouth Radio Network.
What's up, everybody? It is always a wonderful opportunity to come and speak my mind. I guess there's always something that's a message that's coming from the heart and mind of my little body that inspires these conversations that I upload and share with you guys week to week. And today I wanted to talk about something that I have known for a long time, even as a kid, going into my high school years. I used to hear this phrase about having a magnetic personality, or the multitude of a positive mindset, but magnetism, right? And from a positive perspective, because magnets work. They magnetize the energies that's being put forth to them. So there is a possibility to magnetize negativity just as much as it is positivity. So, I'm going to talk about the positivity of things, right? Because it's always easier to multiply negativity than it is sometimes positivity. Isn't that weird? But is it very important? I think sometimes people are not even aware of the energy that they're putting out and what they're drawing in, and wonder why life seems to be complicated and a lot of times. And, and it leaves people to feel like they may not be in the center of things that they desire. So today I wanted to share some tips about magnetizing the life you desire, and just how important it is that in order for that to even be a case scenario, that you have to be aware and you have to be intentional. And because of the variation of things that we have as our personality types, that can be different from person to person. So by no way, shape, or form am I giving you just, hardcore standards that these are the only possibilities, the only ways in which you can exist in the framework of magnetism. That's not at all what I'm saying. But I am going to share some things that I think, even from my own perspective, I've had to encounter and recognize could have some space for improvement. And to also make note of what it is that I do want to be aware of myself in regards to other people. And how that energy field is given off, what innately is within me. So I think that at the end of the day, we're all just trying to master, the things that we desire, or that we want to go after, or that maybe we're putting energy into. And master means that we are applying a lot of time and effort. And I think each and every one of us, if we're here in the physical, we're spending a lot of time developing ourselves and our lives on a day-to-day basis, moment to moment, minute to minute, hour to hour. And so because of that, we are the master of our lives. And when we take account of understanding that, it just makes us level up in a different kind of way. And if we can take hold of it and find the steadiness of what that could be for us, it would be a profound effect on what our lives can be. So guys, you know what time it is? It's Monday, and it's time for Sunday's Morning Motivation. So let's go. Welcome to Loudmouth Radio Network. My name is Sonny. As a former professional athlete turned entrepreneur realtor and the producer of Loudmouth Radio Network, I look forward to bringing content to you that empowers, inspires, and entertains you. Tune in each week as we have unscripted and unfiltered talks from entrepreneurship, real estate, politics, entertainment, comedy, LGBTQ topics, day-to-day life, and everything in between. All shows available on demand 24/7 on your favorite podcast platforms.
Banning Bath and Body, where we cater to your mind, body, and soul. Located at 12 San Gorgonio Avenue in downtown Banning. Stop in and purchase handcrafted candles, soaps, bath bombs, custom jewelry pieces. We also offer classes. Check me out on Instagram at banning_bath_body to purchase items and for more details.
Eli's Handyman Service is proudly serving the Inland Empire for all your handyman needs. Whether you're in need of furniture assembly, general construction or repairs, remodeling, drywall installation, new tile flooring work, plumbing fixture installation, interior or exterior painting, TV mounting, and more, contact Eli at 323-286-8435 for all your handyman needs, available 6 days a week. Don't forget to let them know that you heard them on Loudmouth Radio.
This is Sylvia.
And Tito from Hemet.
And you're listening to Loudmouth Radio Network.
Okay, so I want to dive right into some tips that I think can enlighten those who are listening to this programming today, in hopes that it will give you something that you can take in and also maybe share with some of your friends, family, whomever you think that will be able to wrap their minds around it and embrace it, and it can give them something that is of good substance, right? So before I came out of my intro, I talked about the mastering of certain things that we can do for ourselves. And so I'm going to share probably about a good 15 tips of statements that I can just kind of give conversation around in regards to magnetizing that social in essence of confidence, of being just that magnetic personality, or being not just the personality, but also magnetizing things that you want in your life. And, only you know what you desire. And it's only for you to really get to the root of that and to continuously work on it. And only you will know when you have achieved the level of what you desire. And in order for, the world to be able to experience it, is that you have to go through the steps and transform yourself to bring those things forth. And one of the things that I think is so important is, the funny thing is there's a lot of people in the world that are emotionally driven, and there's some that are not emotionally driven. But for those of us, and I've known to be very emotional in regards to different things and vocal, or sometimes I may give off that emotional aspect in my creativity. And so because of that, I've had to learn, my first tip is how to manage your emotions. And this is something I think at any age is important for you to know and understand, that it is important to manage your emotions, because sometimes there'll be things that will drag you if you allow them. And it does not necessarily have to be a person, but it could be your attitude towards things. It could be the way your mindset is towards things. And, a lot of times you'll hear people say, when it rains, it pours, or there's always something going on, and there's always something happening. This only happens to me. Why, those kind of conversations or statements have become cliche to us, and they've become very standardized in our conversation in the world. And a lot of times talking to friends and response when somebody may ask you how you doing and stuff like that. And so, or if we're having some type of obstacle, maybe we're experiencing something that is not comfortable, and we give these knee-jerk reactions of saying, oh yeah, this is always happening, and I'm not surprised, but really and truly, the mindset of saying things like that is generated from the factor of emotionally your mind is already anticipating something that may not be as good, or not a pleasant result, or you feel like life is beating you and life is handling you. And so I think a lot of times there are times when we have things that are going on that we do not have total control over, but we do have control over our own emotions. And if we can learn to better manage our emotions, we'll find ourselves sometimes coming out of our circumstances on the other side in a better way. And guys, listen, when I tell you this is not a judgmental conversation, this is a real conversation, because a lot of things I'm telling you, I have to remind myself about. So it's more about the accountability of how we're conducting ourselves amongst each other, right? So I'm hoping that just as much as I'm sharing this with you, you understand that I'm also sharing it with myself. So I'm not holding you to a standard that I don't hold to myself. And then even with that, it goes right into number 2. And this is a big thing too, because sometimes a lot of us are super caring, we're super giving, we're super empathetic toward people. And most people that are interacting with you, will sometimes pick up on that. And sometimes, unfortunately, you'll find people that will manipulate you because they know that you're a person that is a caring person or you're empathetic toward people. So sometimes you have to realize that number 2, stop caring so much. And I'm going to say this in a way in which it can be very constructive on a lot of ways. So even for yourself, sometimes we can be so self-absorbed in things that we're caring so much about the outcome of what we think other people will feel or the possibility of, and maybe it hasn't even taken place. It hasn't even had a result or hasn't even happened. And we're making a presumptuous thought that this is going to be the result of what will happen if this goes this way. Now, I'm not saying that you can't juggle the thought of things, or you might have, something you're meditating on and you may be trying to make a decision on it, and that's okay. But sometimes you don't need to care so much about the outcome of things, or sometimes you don't need to care so much about other individuals or other matters that are outside of what you can really control. And because we get wrapped up in other people's stuff. Prime example. Have you ever had a friend or somebody call you and they tell you about something they're going through and you find that you're more concerned about it than they are? And they're giving it to you because they know that you're that type of person. And you'll just take it and try to manage it or take over it or give suggestions, or, sometimes they'll pass the issue over to you and you don't even, naturally understand that that's happening. You're not even paying attention that they're giving you something that maybe you shouldn't even care that much about. But even with ourselves, sometimes we put too much emotional, which was the first thing we talked about, managing emotions. But sometimes we get too wrapped up in things that sometimes we just don't need to give it so much attention. We don't need to give it so much, not to say that you're ignoring it. But sometimes we got responsibilities that are so large or so big. Like, for instance, I have a lot of single mothers out there in the world. And you know what you got to do. You know that you have layers of responsibility. You have kids that need things. You have your own responsibilities. Let's say you're a pet parent. You know you got responsibilities as it comes to your parent, to your pet. Maybe you're taking care of your parents. Just all these different things that are going on. And sometimes you don't need to care so much detail about every single thing, because if you did, it could actually knock you off of your foundation of what you know how to handle things. And it will stagnate you because you're putting so much emphasis and so much attention to it, and it could take away from you. So, the other thing is, and I know it's almost going to sound cliche, but the third tip is be helpful to others. And, that can be something too, that sometimes you have to measure how much you allow yourself to be helpful to other people. The other side, which also is cool about this, is that sometimes we're dealing with our own stuff that's so stressful and or has created a level of stress for us, or maybe we haven't figured it out and it's something that's got us challenged and we know we need to work through it. But sometimes you need to give yourself a break and step away from it. And one of the good ways to do that is to sometimes look at others and maybe help them with something that is outside of you, has nothing to do with you, has nothing to do with your responsibilities or problems or anything like that. But it just allows you to take away the attention of yourself and give it to someone else, or give it to a cause. Maybe go do some volunteer work, be active in your church, be active in your community. If you're not in a church, maybe you connect to an organization in your neighborhood, or something that you might have interest in, or something that may be a cause. Maybe there's something you are experiencing within your family, dynamics that you've been exposed to, and maybe there's an organization that deals with that cause, and you can maybe get involved with them. Even if it's something for a short period of time. We get into the holiday season, full steam ahead. Maybe you can go and feed the homeless. Maybe you can go through your garage, take things out and donate them to an organization, donate them to a family. Just do things sometimes that does not always focus on you, right? Another big thing, tip number 4, avoid comparing yourself to other people. This is a big thing, because I think a lot of our youth and young adults, we're in an age where the social platforms have allowed us to be able to see and hear and be exposed to a lot, even as adults. there can sometimes be these tendencies where people are comparing themselves to other people, and it creates a lot of pressure that's so unnecessary. And I think that if we find out that, you know, you are uniquely made, you have been brought to this universe in this space and time to be present and to provide something to the earth and to the world that is uniquely designed from your perspective. And so I think that's one of the biggest responsibilities that we have, is to figure out, or to just exist in, because I think sometimes we've been given this belief factor that is this one thing that we're just supposed to do, and that's the one thing, and it's not necessarily that. I don't think there's such a limitation there. There could be many things that you're here to do, but it's up to you to dive into those things and discover what they are, and then to share those gifts, right? So because of that, you need to understand that you are something that is a different mode from other people. And it's not really fair to yourself to try to compare yourself to friends, family, or peers, or people that you may not know, because each and everybody's evolution is something different. And there's a makeup, or maybe there's an assignment for them that has nothing to do with you.
Cynthia Sweet Treats, located at 1259 South State Street in Hemet. We are located in the Diamond Valley Shopping Center. Come in and enjoy some puff pastries, custom cakes, cupcakes, mini desserts, handmade pastries, fresh breads, cookies, and event catering. Our hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4 p.m., Saturdays, 8:30 to 3 p.m., and Sundays we are closed. If you have any questions, go ahead and call the store, which is 951-282-3237. You can also find our website at cynthiasweettreats.co.
Hi, this is Cindy Lemke from the Hemet San Jacinto Valley Chamber of Commerce, and I'm here to invite you to learn more about the Chamber. We have networks ongoing, so you can join us at a breakfast at J&M Restaurant at 9 a.m. every Wednesday. Breakfast is on you, networking is on us. And then we have Women in Business, we have the Multicultural Network, and we have the Valley Nonprofit Network. And then we also have our monthly mixer. Any one of those things, you can be my guest. Give me a call at the office for more information, or tell me you're coming, 951-658-3211, or you can check us out on the website, hsjvc.com. That's like Hemet San Jacinto Valley Chamber.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day, and don't forget to join the Chamber and help your business grow.
You're listening to the Loudmouth Radio Network.
And so you'll create more of an obstacle for yourself trying to compare yourself to other people, and you won't be able to tap into your magic or be able to expound on who you are to become if you're too focused on other people, right? The other thing is, you know, and this is going to be interesting. I'm pretty sure some people are going to be like, because some people are not, you know, as social as others. Some people are more introverted. Some may be more extroverted. But this one is cliche too, I guess. Appear more friendly, right? And take it as you will, but I can see it as a way of maybe your approach to people, maybe your approach to life. Because sometimes we could be too serious about things. And when we're so serious, it makes it harder for people to approach you. Even yourself. Sometimes you can be too much for yourself. I don't know. Hey, if I'm talking over your head, hey, sorry about that. But for those who understand a lot more about themselves, sometimes you can be too serious about things for yourself. And, you know, it's nothing wrong with being able to laugh at yourself and things of that nature. I think it's more important that you can, and that you can discover that you can do that, and there's nothing wrong with it. Because if you can laugh at yourself, it doesn't affect you as much if you feel like you're being examined or judged in a sense from other people, because you know you should know yourself better than anybody else, right? And this leads right into tip number 6: embrace your quirks. I love this one because I remember a friend of mine had said to me one day, Sonny, I think that you're a little weird. I said, thank you. And he was like, huh? I said, yeah, thank you. I said, matter of fact, I think I love my weirdness. And I said to her, I said, if you were just totally normal, you'd be boring to me. And I think that what is normal, right? And I said that to even soften up the factor of understanding. I said, it's okay to be quirky. It's okay to be weird. It's okay to be different. It's okay to have aspects of yourself that is so far beyond maybe what people expect of you at times. It's okay. I think the more you embrace and you find those things about you, the better you're going to understand who you are at the base of self. And even if they're not something that is a consistent or a constant, it could be sometimes we experience things in our life and it creates a different aspect of our personalities and it makes us act differently accordingly because of that experience. So that's an okay thing too. And I think the quicker that you can embrace your quirks or things that are, not so traditional about you or what society says you're supposed to be, you feel freer. Guys, I hope I'm giving y'all something, right? This leads to tip number 7, develop your wit, right? When it comes to, your humor or things that you might find interesting, maybe everybody else doesn't find interesting all the time, and that's okay. It is something amazing about discovery. And this is something that only can happen when you're spending time with yourself. And you're paying attention, because a lot of times you'd be surprised how many people are not even aware of themselves. They're not even aware of how they act, how they talk, how they think, how they smell, how they walk, how do you carry yourself? Now you can maybe see things on other people, but are you paying attention to yourself? Do you know these things about yourself that exist? Are you aware that you may do certain things, around people? I have a friend of mine that I noticed, and I've been knowing him a long time. And I remember one day really, really paying attention to him. And I discovered he had this little twitch that he would do with his mouth. And I'm not sure if he's aware, but I became aware of it. And it made me pay attention to myself more. And I was like, man, I wonder what little thing do I do when I'm amongst people, even just by myself, right? But it gives you an opportunity to connect to your brain, your subconscious, your conscious mind. And I think it's important that, if you do things spontaneous, it helps you to also understand how you react to people or things, that statement I made about being so serious. I also think you also have a balance of not being too silly. And here that's coming from me, right? The people who have known me for a long time, like, oh, she crazy. Okay, you get it. But, understanding your own level of your own wit and your own personality, it's just a wonderful thing to be able to tap into yourself and know these certain things about yourself. Because the more you tap into it, the more you can submerge yourself into things that will be a part of your experience, right? The other thing too, there's this fine balance, guys. I think that is of, the magnetism of the life that you desire comes from the fact of you knowing more about yourself and having a clear essence of the things you like, what you don't what you don't like, maybe some things you dislike, because maybe sometimes you don't like certain things. It may not be in its totality. Maybe you don't like the way you've experienced it before. So maybe you need to have a different experience. Maybe you've had something that scared the bejesus out of you. And, like some people don't like bridges. Some people don't like heights. Some people don't like driving on the expressway. It's a lot of different things that, sometimes people have experienced it and not felt good, or they've had no absolute experience of it, but the very thought of it makes them afraid. But these are the things that you can explore more. So the next thing that I was going to share was about being curious about others. And I think that, if you're not a business owner, you maybe have never participated in a networking event, right? in your typical networking events, people are within a room, within a space, and everybody's trying to, one, share their information about their business or their product or service, whatever they're into. And then at the same time, you have to be open enough to meet other people that have things that they're doing and what they're doing and paying attention. So it's a give and take, right? And so I think it's a cool thing to be, or like some people have done speed dating, right? They've had experiences where they've sat down and shared a little bit about them in a few minutes. Then they had to listen to the person share a little bit about themselves. And then in that, you have to kind of really make a decision whether or not that person is going to hold your interest beyond that moment. Right. And so I think it's a healthy thing to be curious about other people and the things that they do, what they're doing in their lives, their hobbies, maybe their quirks, right? Things that they do in their pastimes. And it also helps to make, I think it helps to make a discovery of what can hold your attention. And it also helps to let you know what your deeper interest could be. Maybe you'll go to an opera, something that maybe you didn't think you'd like, but maybe you'll meet someone that approaches opera in a different way, and maybe they perform it differently. So it opens you up and opens your horizons up. I'm telling you guys, this is some good stuff. I hope y'all using this, measurably in a good, positive way, because I'm just going to keep going. I got a few more that I'm going to share with you. So the next thing is follow through on your plans. This is a little shift. We're going to go to another level. Follow through on your plan. So this is a big thing. I remember as a kid, my mom would be very, very adamant about people saying things to my sister and I about doing things. And she would say, don't promise that you want to do something, or tell my kids you want to do something, or you're going to give them something if you don't intend on following through on it. And I can imagine as a single parent how pivotal that is, because one, you're already out here doing it by yourself. And then two, if somebody's coming into your circle, into your world, and conditioning a moment of statement to is innocent children whose expectancy is that what you said is truth and what you're doing is truth. And to this day, I am very much like that. If I say something, then I usually mean that that's what I'm going to do. And if I can't do that, it has to be something extremely challenging that has prevented me from following through and doing it, or showing up and doing it. Now, I'm not saying I've been known to procrastinate. I'm not saying procrastinate and not doing it at all. But even with that, I'm working to not make it those kind of excuses either. Just the fact of saying that I've known myself to procrastinate is a work on. I'm working on that, so that it's not even still a vocabulary description of my behavior, right? Because then it's like I'm excusing myself for being a procrastinator. Do you get what I'm saying? Okay. Follow through on your plans. If you tell somebody you're doing something, do your best to do it, man. And I promise you, the response that people will give you is just a reward in itself, right? The next thing, number 10, always be humble. That might have left crickets in the room. I don't know. My mic was very silent because there was a moment of silence behind that statement, because, a lot of people have no clue what that word means or what that actually means in the physical. But if you live long enough, you have some experiences, and the old folks will say you got that high horse mentality, something knock you down, it will humble you. So I think the approach to that, honestly, is even if you've had some level of success, if you've had some experiences, maybe you were born into a situation where you don't know poverty, you do not know lack, you do not know, struggle, you not have had experiences that have left you in a situation to where you've had to adjust because your circumstances forced you to. I'm not saying that everyone has to experience, some bad magnitude of life, or they have to have something that puts them in destitute in order for them to be humble. That's not at all what I'm saying. So you can be extremely wealthy. You can have everything and anything you wanted to have in mind, body, and soul. But the understanding of humbleness to others is significant, and it's never something that is not room for all of us to be able to account for and to actively be. I think that's very important as a society. I do not believe that we should be in the land of have and have nots, even though that has been a big part of our history already to ancient and middle age times, nomadic times of history. But at this day and age, it's 2023. I'm saying be humble, right? The next tip: avoid being distracted. Woo! I said that to myself because you can distract your damn self. Anybody else here understand what I'm saying? But distractions, avoid being distracted. And I think that plays a part in every aspect of every facet of your life. Do your best to not allow things to take away your attention. Because sometimes there's certain assignments that the world is giving you. And at that time, I'm not saying that things won't come and try to derail your attention, because it can come from a parent, it can come from a spouse, it can come from a kid, it can come from a friend, it could be from work related circumstances. There's always opportunities for you to be distracted. So there has to be a level of awareness for you to know that to give attention to whatever it is that you need to give. And doing that helps people to be drawn to you, that you're staying the course. Sometimes people are following you just by the actions that you're doing. You may not have direct conversations. You may not have direct initiation. Prime example, look at social media. You know, we have these people, quote unquote, called influencers. And a lot of times the way they talk, the way they carry themselves, what they're wearing, you know, how they show up to the world, they're influentially putting out their energy to the world. Even that sometimes can be distracting. Sometimes you have to peel away or back away from social media and approach it differently. And it's important that you're aware of that, right? The next thing that I want to touch on is something, this is very cliche because as a comic, you know, and I'm saying this in a different way because it's not the same level, you know, as a comedian. That is a bona fide profession, you know. There's a time and place for that, and there's separation of church and state. But, you know, be conscious of not making fun of other people in the sense that is being detrimentally done, in the sense that you're bullying, in the sense that you're provoking, like I just said, that have and have not type of thing. You know, don't make fun of people at the expense of hurting them or hurting others or trying to make you bigger than the next person. That is not at all, you know, a life value that you need to participate in, right? The next thing, be more thoughtful. I think that that's something that as a society, we have sometimes fallen back from. We don't necessarily don't call people too early. Don't call them too late. You know, maybe, you know, if you have a friend that, you know, struggles with time and tries to separate their day or their attention to give children, family, work, spouse, you know, just these different things. Everybody's pulled in different directions naturally because we all play different roles in our lives. So I think it's important to be, you know, more considerate and just to think about sometimes what the other person may be doing, what they need, or how sometimes they may need you to be the part for them that helps them not to be distracted. You know, try not to be a distraction to them, you know, by calling or by showing up or, you know, maybe doing something that is compulsively requiring more of them than they are able to give. But because they may be self-sacrificial, you keep pulling, you know. So I'm just saying these are just different aspects, guys, of approach. I don't know if you're doing this, actively doing this, participating in this, but I am just giving a well-rounded conversation in regards to the statements of the possibilities, right? The other thing, we got two more I'm going to touch. Do your best to relate to other people. You know, and that means in so many ways, it can be so many different things that can go across. But, you know, maybe, you know, you may not be a parent, you may not be a grandparent, but that does not mean you know what it was to be a kid. You know what it was to deal with your parent. You know how I felt to deal with siblings and things of that nature. You knew how it felt to maybe go and clock in at a job, clock out, have to be on time, have to, you know, not use your phone at certain times because you're not permitted. You knew what it felt like to, you know, maybe walk into the church and not make a bunch of noise and the church is in session and you have to, you know, respect the space that you're coming into. So there's a large level of where that could go. I just think that it's good that if we take the time to see the other person and actively work towards listening and acknowledging and consideration some of the things I've touched on, it makes it easier for you to relate to whatever it is that may be on the other side of you and outside of you, right? And the last one that I have, this is kind of cool, is improve your communication skills. And I think that can go across so many borders. I think that there's never a wrong time to work on better communication. And for those who have been in relationships, intimate relationships, that's one of those big things that you have to learn to develop. And if you already got it, wonderful. Teach others, share others, how you're doing it. But communication is so important, and it crosses so many lines, barriers. It has no limitation. I think it's important just as much for you to be able to express yourself as much as the next person to be able to express themselves, and for people to mutually have an understanding of where each other is coming from. Doesn't mean that you're going to agree, but it does give an opportunity for all parties involved to feel heard, to feel validated, to feel like what I'm experiencing in my world is just as important as what you're experiencing in yours, and that it's not always just about you. So it gives a whole level of opportunity of development in another place, that just as much as you're learning to communicate better, you're also being received in a better way. Because if you're doing the same and they're doing the same, then we're both achieving leveling up in our existence of one another, in our acknowledgement of each other. And so, guys, I just think that those 15 things, I came across a piece talking about, magnetic personalities, and those were the things that were just those bullet points. And I wanted to expound on those bullet points and just give some insight of how we can all magnetize the life we desire by taking the initial steps of, once again, guys, it starts from here out, right? And it gives such an opportunity for us as people to be better and to be more approachable. I think that is, even as we're crossing into different cultures, and these are reasons why wars start, why wars are happening, that there's some lines of a breakdown of communication, and people are not agreeing amongst themselves or agreeing to the circumstances, and it's causing rifts, and it's causing, the magnitude of not meeting in the minds, right? And it's conflict. So I think that if we can just start to, from ourselves, do better, extend out, it will move our society in a way in which we can all be the lights that we were born to be, and that we can make a difference in our cultures and in the people that we make contact to. So I hope you guys can carry this through your work week, because I know we just came out of a full moon. And it's, full moons have the tendency to give us time of enlightenment. And, it also, it affects people's moods. It affects, the way sometimes you'll see our communication tools, electronics, our bodies, our minds. We either recalibrate or disrupts, or it energizes, synergizes. It can magnetize. There's just so many different things that are happening. And it's up to us to take hold of what we can from it and use that energy to allow ourselves to realign so that we can carry forth another day. So, guys, I'm going to wrap this up because I've had your attention now. And I appreciate you guys listening to my little spiel on magnetizing the life we desire. And I hope that we can continue to build upon these things that are part of what we are as a society and how we interact with each other, and that maybe we can gain a little bit further humanity because of it. So, guys, I appreciate y'all. I'm going to get up out of here. As you know, we're on all your favorite podcasts. Archive is 24/7 on demand, live on radio network. And I appreciate you guys tapping into this Monday motivation. And I look forward to talking to you guys later. Peace.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.